and welcome to episode 15 of the Hughes Musings podcast. Sorry, I nearly had a little blank there, but my name is John.
And I'm Carol.
And we are the Hugheses, and this, guess what it is? It's the Hughes Musings podcast.
Woo!
Woo!
Hello, welcome. Come and sit down, grab a cup of tea.
I feel like we're almost turning into a daily show now, Carol.
It feels like that, doesn't it?
Like, we have recorded a lot to make up for in 2020.
Racking them up.
Yeah. So we've got lots to talk about today, including our amusing this week as well.
Oh, what's it this week? Are we keeping it a surprise?
No. So
It'll be the title of the episode, won't it?
Well, no, because in case you haven't noticed, I've sort of started working on different kinds of titles, not necessarily just the topic of the amusing. But yeah, we are going to be talking about what it's like to start working abroad. That first
packing,
first journey,
getting on your first journey,
getting ready, going on your own for the first time, how it feels getting into a different country, knowing that you're going to be there for a certain amount of time, and just that excitement and apprehension and just the logistics of doing it all. So
yeah,
we're going to have a quick chat about the first contract for working abroad. So that's what we're going to have a quick chat about today. But before we start, I have a few things that I have to admit.
Oh yes, you've got some corrections. Oh dear.
So we've had a few people write into us. We had a few messages on Facebook and a couple of emails of things that I got wrong.
The fact checkers are out to get you.
We need a fact checker. If anybody wants to volunteer to sit and watch us chat shit for a while, and just make sure that we're not completely lying, that'd be great. I know a few podcasts that have like proper producers and stuff like that. They actually have somebody like sat there with a computer fact checking what they say. We could probably do with that. We've decided after last week. Right, okay, so I'm going to start off with the simple ones. This is where John fucked up. So the writer of Thor Ragnarok wasn't Taika Waititi. He didn't write it. He did direct it though. But the writer was a guy called Eric Pearson.
Oh.
So there's that one fixed.
Thank you very much.
And the big debate that we had about whether my information was bullshit or not.
Yeah,
my information was correct, but the fact that Disney had cryogenically frozen himself is not official. It is a conspiracy theory. And I always thought that was fact. That he had frozen himself, but apparently it's not. It's officially he was cremated in 1966, and his ashes were scattered in a crematorium somewhere in America, some American town, probably where he was living or born or something. I don't exactly know where, but so he wasn't actually officially cryogenically frozen. So the person that we said last week was the first person to be cryogenically frozen officially. That is correct. So my facts were right.
Yeah, it was the second guessing yourself.
So I got fact checked against my facts. So, yay. And this isn't really a fact check, but somebody did remind me that we went through our entire entertainment bug, talked about everything, forgot to rate them.
We started off well. I think we rated the first one.
Did we? I don't think
episode 13 or episode 14 or 12. Something we done the first one, and then just forgot to do the rest. Right.
Okay. So what we're gonna do is I'm just gonna list them off, and we're gonna try and do it quick and give them ratings. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so Carol, The Gentleman. Out of 5 plectrums?
I quite enjoyed it. I'm going to say 3.
Strangely enough, I completely agree with you again. I'll give it a solid 3. It was good. Yeah. It wasn't amazing. Didn't blow my mind, but I'd watch it again. Playing with Fire.
For what it is, a 3.
I think that's generous. I am going to give it...
For a kids film, like, Samuel loved it, laughed all the way through it.
Yeah, just the plot gaps and the stuff that we were just supposed to assume had happened just kind of got to me a bit too much. So I'm going to be really harsh on this one. I'm going to give it a 1.5.
Whoa, brutal.
As in, like, it was pap entertainment, and I just kind of went, a couple of moments were quite funny, but generally it was a bit poor.
Yeah, okay, I'm gonna say a 2.
So I enjoyed it for what it was, but that's because we took our nephew to the cinema, not because it was a great film.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give it a 1.5, and you're going to give it a 2.
Yeah.
Cool. So I think I know roughly where this is going to be, but atypical.
Oh, I love it. I'm gonna say 4.
I'm going to give it a 4.5.
Oh.
Because I genuinely do look forward to every season that comes out, but it's not quite perfect, but it's really, really very good.
Yeah, the whole story about her cheating, I'm like, what's even the point of this? Like,
yep. Yeah, exactly.
There's too many stories.
So that's the stuff that we watched together, so we rated together. So I'm going to quickly move on, get these done really, really quickly for the stuff that I've been watching on my own. So film-wise, I'm going to give Star Wars a solid 3.5.
Ooh, that's not very good.
Just because, as we talked about and as I've ranted in workloads, it was good, but they just kind of missed the mark a little bit on so many things. And I can understand why people complain about it, but there's no need to damn the film. So 3.5. Knives Out, I think I'm going to give that a 4.5. Because it was almost perfect. There was a couple of weird little moments, but generally thought it was really, really good. Jojo Rabbit, I'm going to give it a full-on 5. Because I loved it. It was amazing.
Yeah, you were saying to some friends today you've been to watch it like twice or something.
Yeah, I've been to watch it twice already. Because I loved it so much. I'll give it a 5. It was
a
superb.
Wow. Should I go see it?
One of my films of the year. I think you'd enjoy it. It's really quirkily dark comedy. Yeah. It is your kind of sense of humour. We share a sense of humour. Mm-hmm. If I find something funny, generally you'll find something funny.
Yeah.
So I genuinely think, yeah, you probably would enjoy it.
Okay.
You just need to sort of look past the fact that it's like a World War II based comedy drama. 1917. Do you know what? I'm being really generous, but I'm going to give that a 5.
What?
Those two films are like right up there in my films of the year. Like if something is as close to perfect as you can get as a film, which in my opinion, both of those films are, it's going to be a solid 5 again. So 1917 is a 5 for me. And then TV shows that I was watching on my own. So that's The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to give that a 4.5.
Wow, you're giving out all the plectrums tonight.
I've been really enjoying my entertainment recently. I feel like I'm either picking well or I'm just in a good mood with entertainment. But yeah, do you know what? It's really, really good. Absolutely loving it. And can't wait for the new seasons to come out. I'm really sad that I didn't wait longer to block watch it because I just can't stop watching it now. And then this is where, unfortunately, it dips a little bit. So I said that I was watching that Queen of the South programme. Really good for the whole of season 1, but I find myself just dwindling a bit towards the end of season. So I'm only on season 1, so I might change my mind once I get into season 2. But I've just finished that, and at the moment I'm going to say it's a 2.5. Ooh. Solid start, just dwindled all the way through, and it's kind of lost my interest a bit. So I'm going to try and get back into it, but I think it might be one of those rare TV shows that kind of just drop because I can't keep watching it because I'm not invested in it.
Yeah.
And then finally, last but certainly not least, is The Witcher.
Oh yeah, I hear about this in work constantly.
It's because it's so good.
Yeah.
It's just brilliantly done for
people.
What's
that about? It's about witches.
So a Witcher isn't necessarily a witch. He's sort of just imbued with like magical powers. It does have witches in it. It does have dragons in it. It has all sorts of stuff in it. It's really, really very good. Really well made. I'm gonna give it a 4. And I would give that a 5 as well. But there's the only problem that I have with it, and I wouldn't necessarily go as far as to say that's an entertainment bug, but it's got 3 simultaneous storylines that sort of run alongside each other. And they're not in the same chronological time period. So they've got a story that's running, and that's like 20, 30 years ago.
Right.
And they've got another story that's running like now, and another story that's running somewhere in between. And as an audience member, it's really exciting and interesting when the penny drops and you go, oh my God, I didn't even realise that. But I know a lot of people that I've spoke to who have gone, I have no idea when everything was happening.
Yeah.
So you've got to find the balance there between being interesting and doing something very well, but then at the same time making something that the general audience member can understand.
Yeah, they don't lose interest because they have no idea what's going on.
That's it. Like, a lot of people that I've spoke to have been like, I love it, I think.
Yeah.
Because they've struggled to knit together what's happening there. So, yeah, I'm going to give it a 4 because I really enjoyed it, but I struggle to keep up with it, and I watch a lot of TV, so I'm better than most, and I know some people have really, really struggled to sort of keep up with what's happening when and who's who. But then when the penny does drop, you're like, oh, that's amazing. But they just need to make it a bit more obvious so everybody gets that moment. Like, as an audience member, you like to feel clever for working it out.
Yeah.
As an audience member, you like to feel like, oh, I got that, you know? And it's just kind of missing that a little bit. But apart from that, absolutely brilliant.
Excellent.
So that's us caught up on the issues from last week. So thanks for everybody for writing in and messaging us and emailing us. Like, we actually have emails now.
Woo!
Woo!
I know, I was shook when I opened it.
I know, yeah. I haven't checked it for like 3 weeks, so yeah, it's just because I got stuff wrong. So I do apologise, everybody. But every now and again, I'm not right.
Oh, what was that, John?
Every now and again, I'm not right.
Okay, cool.
Rarely though.
Glad we've got this recorded.
Yep, it's on record now. But yeah, thanks for that, everybody. And if you do have anything to say to us, if you do want to just let us know that we've dropped the ball on something, do what everyone did. Send us a message, send us an email, write in, tell us. Carol, now that we've got that out of the way, how's your week been?
My week has been great.
Great?
Great. Well, since we last spoke, it's been the weekend, so...
Yeah. There's only been 4 days? 3 days?
When did we record it? I can't even remember.
I can't remember either. I know it all got released on like Thursday, didn't it?
Was it Wednesday?
Potentially, yeah. It's only been a few days since we recorded, so...
So on Thursday, we had Samuel's birthday party.
Yeah, that was
like
fun,
family birthday
wasn't
party.
it? Yeah.
He had his own birthday party like, with his friends and stuff. But family birthday parties went round to my parents, and they'd made like a nice mix of like healthy and treats. So that was quite good.
I had treats.
I had mixture, yeah. So they had like prawn cocktail on like those lettuce leaves.
Yeah.
So you could just like
Yeah, it was good.
scoop out one go, and there's like carrot sticks and stuff like that as well.
Yeah, I just have to put it out there about the prawn cocktail and the salad leaf.
Yeah.
Is that Matthew went to pick one up and everyone, no, you're going to drop it everywhere. And he's 3, so fair enough, you think he's going to drop it everywhere. Perfectly scooped and rolled it with one hand and just shoved it in his face and ate it. And I was like, that is incredible dexterity for a 3-year-old. Just scooped and rolled like a little burrito. He was like, yeah, I've got that. Just ate it and was like, why is everyone shouting at me?
Why is everyone freaking out?
And then took a bite and then realised he didn't like it, so put it back on the plate.
Yeah. It had salmon in it as well, didn't it?
Yeah, it did have a little slither of salmon on the top. But yeah,
Slither salmon.
I was so impressed. I was just like, that is incredible dexterity. That kid can be a musician. I'll teach him how to play piano or guitar or something.
Yeah. Friday was just another day at the office, I feel.
Yeah, Friday was my first day back at the office. Because obviously I've been off work, not feeling very well. So I went back for my first day on Friday.
You were shattered.
I was out of it when I got home. I was at that point where I was so tired, I felt a little bit sick.
But we got to meet up for lunch, so that was nice.
Yeah, we try and do that on a Friday, is just have a little lunch together, because we don't normally, because we don't want to be those people, because that's the time that I get to socialise with my team. That's the time where you get to sort of take a bit of time out. And,
yeah.
You know, I don't know, do you share lunches with anybody in the team at all?
Yeah, quite a lot of people.
So yeah, you get a bit of like,
together.
sort of,
yeah.
like socialising
But
time as
sometimes
well.
it's nice to just, we've got sofas
Yeah.
in the staff room. Sometimes it's nice to just sit on there and not talk to anyone.
Yeah, sure.
Because obviously I spend my whole morning like interacting with the children and singing and talking and blah 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 blah. So in the baby room, like it's really social between staff, like because the babies don't really talk much, so you can like just chat quite freely. Because it's a team of 7 of us, so
Right.
And you're always chatting and talking and catching up and all kind of thing. So at lunch, it's sometimes nice just to not talk.
Yeah, of course.
Just
of
to
course.
have a bit of kind of gather your thoughts and prepare.
Yeah,
yourself.
everybody needs a bit of time. I sort of do that as well. So I've got like a little routine of like, I go for lunch, have a quick chat with everybody. Once it gets to a certain time, I sort of go have a little walk and then go back in early enough. And I have like 10 minutes just sat at my desk before I have to go live again. And it just gives me that like 10 minutes just to gather myself, set myself up ready for the next however long that I'm there.
Yeah. And Fridays are our busiest day in the nursery. So it's like, woof! It's like, so when you get to the end, you're like, yes! We've done it!
Yeah,
It's
sure.
good. It's hard. Our Fridays are hard. Like Monday, Tuesdays are nice because they're not too busy.
Yeah.
Wednesdays are mental. Thursdays are alright. Fridays are just like...
When I got home Friday, you were absolutely KO'd on the sofa, weren't you?
Was I?
Yeah. That was Friday. You remember you were like fast asleep and I
On the sofa?
yeah.
I don't remember that.
Yeah. Because remember I had had my dinner, sat on the chair and sort of like woke you up, and I had to sort of wake you up about 2 or 3 times and be like, if you carry on sleeping now, you won't sleep later.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, do you want me to leave you? Because I knew you didn't have work the next day, but you were like, no, I've got to get up and do things in the morning. So I was like, okay, we'll get up then. And you were like, yeah.
Yeah. I think, I came home, had my dinner, and then just lay down on the sofa.
That was it. Yeah, when I got home, you were done.
Yep. So then Saturday I went to yoga with me mum.
How was it? How did you get on?
It was really good. Yeah. It's just awkward, like the first one, like you don't know the etiquette, or like we didn't bring anything, so you needed a yoga mat, a pillow, and a blanket.
Well, you have to bring your own yoga mat.
You don't have to. We were a wee bit late, and because I couldn't find the place because I've never been there before. So most people brought their own mats but used their blankets and pillows.
Right.
Some people brought their own of everything. Some people brought their own blankets but used.
Oh, I thought you went to the normal place where you go.
No, I went
this
to
was a different one.
Newby's,
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Really good. Absolutely loved it.
Yep.
It's called Purple Dove Studio. I highly recommend them. All they do
And
is
where are they
different
based?
types of yoga. It's like an industrial estate. I don't really know.
Whereabouts, like sort of towards Hamilton,
No,
Blantyre
like
way, do you know?
here.
In East Kilbride?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's next to the dump. Not far away from the dump.
Oh, right, I get you where you are. Like, so you've got like all the industrial warehouses and stuff along
Yeah,
there.
it's in
So
one of
it's
them.
along there.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it's quite nice because you go up the stairs, and because it's like industrial estate, it's like all skylight,
Sure.
and the roof's like. So you just lay down.
Nobody knows what.
It's like jaggy.
Yeah, she means like it's corrugated or like it's.
It's pointy.
Yeah,
Pointy
pointed.
bits.
Yeah, or something. Yeah.
So it's quite nice. So it's the yoga we went to was like for beginners and for people with back pain. So Mum and I are both beginners, and she has a little bit of lower back pain because she works in an office.
Yeah.
And I have a little bit of like shoulder and neck pain just from like scooping up the children.
Yeah.
And bending like that. So it was really good for us, like just like stretch out.
Yeah, we were chatting about that earlier today as well. Like I, on the way back from where we went earlier, which we'll talk about in a minute, like I had a bit of back pain as well, and I was saying a lot of the time it's because I'm sat in an office chair for like 10 hours a day, so I was saying that I want to get into yoga just to sort of stretch everything out and make sure I keep moving.
Yeah. And then I went for lunch with my mum and dad. And that was
Lovely.
nice. And then I met Nicola for a coffee.
Wonderful.
And then I picked up John from work.
Which I massively appreciated.
Yeah, you got away early. So
I did. I got a little early finish. Sometimes when the call queues aren't so heavy, they'll offer us to do a shorter lunch to finish a little bit earlier. And my manager was like, "Oh, do you want to do that?" I was like, yeah, I reckon I probably do."
Yeah. And then we watched a movie. We watched
Shazam!
Really good.
Yeah, are we gonna quickly rate that, or we're gonna
Let's keep it for later.
save it for the bog?
Yeah, we're already quite a way in, and we've not really even started yet.
This sort of happens. We're just catching up about the week.
And then today we went on a little walk. Well, I say little walk. It was 2.5 miles.
I was gonna say it wasn't such a little walk. We sort of walked from sort of one lower end of East Kilbride to the other.
Yeah, so we walked for 2.5 miles, and then went for some food, and then walked 2.5 miles back.
Yeah.
And we went with our friends Robbie and Laura, who have just had their wee baby.
Yeah, we went with little
And
baby
he was
Henry
so
as well.
good, wasn't he?
He was. He had a little moan and a cry
Yeah.
just after he'd woken up and had some food, and
Had his
I'm
milk,
like, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, he woke up in a place that probably smelt funny. There was the coffee machine going. It was starting to get busy.
There was other babies crying, and there was a lot going on.
To just like going on a wee play mat or getting held or in his little Moses basket or something, whereas he was either like in his pram or in their arms, so he couldn't really like wiggle out and stretch about and stuff. So.
Yeah, but he did really, really well.
Really well.
Really
He's just learning his little voice, so sometimes he was like, "Ah." Like just to make a noise, like not upset.
You could see it in his face of like, oh wow, I can make that noise too.
Yeah, his wee eyebrows were going. He was like frowning, smiling, frowning. Like, oh,
He's got such a little frown on him as well. And then he was doing like the whole like rock eyebrow for a while.
Yeah, one up.
Yeah, giving it the whole, can you smell what Henry's cooking? Yes, good.
So I got to push the pram for a wee bit.
Oh, I know. You were saying just before you left, you were like, "Oh, I hope I get to push the pram for a bit." And I was like, "Yeah, maybe they'll ask you." And I think Laura was getting a bit tired on the way back as well.
Yeah, it's a big hill.
Sort of going up the
she's
hill.
Just had a baby, like.
Yeah, she's still recovering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, "I'll push if you want."
No, because you were so desperately trying to be cool about it. You were like, "Well, if you need a little bit of help, I could maybe push that for you for a little bit if you really want me to." Laura was like, "Yep, thanks."
That was me. I marched on up the hill pushing the pram.
You're having a great time then, weren't you? You absolutely. I could see you buzzing about it as well. So
I don't know what is so magical about pushing a pram, but I love it.
I think it's that thing. Like you grow up childhood.
Yeah,
like you probably had
pushing
toy
prams,
prams, and you were like, "This is what I'm going to do one day," and there you go. You just get that moment, you know.
Yeah, I love pushing a pram.
Yeah.
I didn't get a wee cuddle this time though.
No, because he was asleep and then woke up and then had his milk.
So I was focusing on that.
Yeah, we were eating and chatting, and it was out in public. It wasn't really at theirs, and I kind of get it, you know. So,
but hopefully next time I'll get a wee cuddle.
Yeah, like if we go around to see them at some point, I'm sure. Yeah. And I sorted out potential little mandate as well.
Oh yeah.
Gonna go and play a little
numbers.
Yeah, gonna go. We did. Yeah, we actually sorted out a mandate, so we're gonna go play golf. Hopefully, depending on the weather.
Weather permitting.
I think no matter what happens, even if it's as long as it's not like horrific, even if it's like just a little bit drizzly, we might just go to the range.
Yeah.
Like, because the range is all covered.
Yeah.
So even if we just go to the range,
not trudging round
and chill out, yeah, because like Robbie said, like he's never really played, so he'll have to find how and where that works for him, you know. So we can't all be Graham Grassy.
No.
Oh, you just have to do that and that for a better swing, and you go in. Oh yeah, okay, whack. So yeah. So that was good. So we've talked a lot about our week. So let's move very swiftly on, Carol, with our first topic of the week. So what we got coming up? What's going on?
Where do you want to be? What do you want to do?
Lay it on me. You tell me what I'm doing.
Okay. It's what's on your plate.
Oh, I want you to tell me, mate. Oh, can't you tell me? Why can't you tell me? What's on your plate? What's on your flumping plate?
So, John, what's been on your flumping plate?
Stew. But not necessarily in a plate. It's kind of been in bowls.
Bowl plates.
Bowl plates.
The bowl plates are like a life changer.
The joy of bowl plates.
Oh.
Like, what's on our plate is...
What's on our bowl plate?
What's on our bowl plate? Like, they are the best. If you have a bit of curry and rice, bowl plate.
Mm-hmm.
I had a little bit of... we had rice with the stew.
Yeah, I had never had rice with stew before.
No.
But when I used to be a caterer, there was a woman who enjoyed rice with her stew, and I was like, that's really weird. But then I was like, rice and gravy, two of my favourite foods.
Yeah, I mean... It's a good, solid, tasty liquid. Like, why wouldn't that work with rice?
Yeah.
Of course it works with rice.
Of course it worked.
Of course it works with rice.
Yeah, so bunged on some rice.
Yep.
A little stew and rice.
Oh, it was good. It was good.
Yeah,
I loved
good.
it.
Yeah.
So the stew that I made was completely out of the mind of John. So what I'll try and do is post a recipe.
Oh?
Yeah. And hopefully I'll remember to put it on the site. And maybe take some pictures the next time that we eat it, because as always, I made loads and it's in the freezer, and we'll portion it out when we're ready.
Yeah, we do not know how to make enough for two people.
No, that
do
was
not know how to do that.
That was a slow cooker full of stew.
Yeah, it's like I'd say 6 to 8 portions.
Yeah.
Because we've had 2, and that's not even a full tub, and I'm sure there's 3 tubs.
I was going to say I did 3 tubs.
Yeah. And we haven't even finished one.
And it's probably 3 portions a tub, so it's probably feeds 9. 9, and there's 2 of us.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's in the freezer, so we'll portion it out when we can and when we're ready. But yeah, it was really good. It was tasty. It was meaty.
It was a stew.
It was a stew. Yeah, it's had loads of veg and a bit of potato in it.
Yeah, so what was it, like 1 sin or 2 sins?
I don't think it's even a sin per portion.
No.
I think it's maybe half a sin per portion.
Nice.
So.
Very good.
Yeah. Lots of veg, lots of meat, lots of stock. It was great.
See carrots inside a stew? Oh. I just love it.
They are. It is something magical, isn't it? Like having like carrots in a stew.
Carrot.
Yeah. So what we got next?
The entertainment bug.
So let me tell you about something bugs me when I'm watching TV on my silver screen, and suddenly I find I'm losing my mind. All of my thoughts have gone out of sight, and I never had a way to vent it before. I had some little bugs, invented some more. So take a second, won't you listen to me? The entertainment bug, what is it this week? Oh, you don't bug me now. But we'll figure it out. Oh, you don't bug me now. Yeah, you don't bug me now. You don't bug me now. Yeah, but we'll figure it out. You don't bug me now. You don't bug me now. I'm still not sure about my rapping. I'm really glad that nobody's written in about that yet.
Yeah, they've just kind of moved swiftly on.
We got emails and messages about stuff, but nobody said anything about the rapping. So I'm like, did I do it okay, or did I just justify that I was taking the piss? Or but yeah. So thanks for not writing in and telling me that I'm horrific. But yeah, so that's the entertainment bug, and the entertainment bug this week is one of those social media bugs. And I don't know how much you've seen them, Carol. Have you seen these?
Yeah, I've seen them on TikTok. Yeah.
Which such and such am I? It's like a roulette thing that everybody's doing. It's like, which fucking Disney character am I? Or which animal should I be? Or, how am I feeling?
What Disney princess am I? What Frozen character am I?
Oh, God, they're doing my head in. Like, the first category that I saw come out, I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Fair play. And then it's just non-stop now. Yeah. Every single person that I know has done them. Like, I swear there was one person on my Instagram who had like 15 stories of them literally just sitting there with the fucking phone at their head. And that was it. And it was all in the space of like half an hour.
Bored. Nova City where?
Which is fair enough, but come on now. Nobody needs to see all of those. No, I know you can skip past, but come on. Like once a week, just limit yourself to the sad roulette thing. But yeah, that's my entertainment bug. And then, so quick review on Shazam, because
Shazam!
most people will have seen it. It's just come out on Sky. I went to watch it in the cinema, so I watched it with Carol again last night. And Carol, what did you think?
I think it started strong,
Right.
but then it just kind of meh.
Meh? In what way?
I don't know if it wasn't really my film. I think it was. I wasn't sure. Like, is it a kids' film? Is it a serious action film? Not a serious action, but like an adulty action.
I think
It's like awkwardly in the middle.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what it's supposed to be aiming for. It is aiming for that teen crowd.
Yeah.
Like, it is aiming for the sort of 13 to say 17 demographic, potentially.
Let's say younger.
Do you think?
Yeah, there was nothing like sexy or love or
Yeah, there was no gore in there either. It was very sort of simple comic
child
booky.
friendly.
Maybe you could go a little bit younger, but
like pre-teens, like I'd say like 9 to 13 or something.
Yeah. Like, I really enjoyed the film. The only bit that I didn't like is when they split into 7 different Shazams, and I was just like, oh, right, okay, piss off then.
Yeah, but to me it made sense because... Well, to me it made sense because I've never heard of it before, not read anything, and at the start he was like...
7 thrones.
I'm the last, and there's like 7 thrones around him, so...
Yeah.
I kind of got it.
He needed his team. But yeah, so I was like, yeah... Okay, like, in the context of the film, it makes sense.
And then there's, like, the 7 deadly sins, so I don't know, it just kind of made sense to me.
Sure. Okay. In the context of the film, I guess it made sense, but it just kind of made me go, oh, well, there you go. You're just kind of searching for, some sort of actor vehicle, yeah. And that's fair enough. That's what studios do. But apart from that, I mean, I thought it was pretty good. It's always good to see Mark Strong play a villain. He's always a good villain. That guy, like, Mark Strong's his name. He's a very good actor. But yeah, he's a quintessential villain. He's very good at playing villains. He's done it a few times. He's been in loads of good stuff.
He's got the look.
Yeah, he's got the look of a good villain. It's nice to see, what's his name? Zachary Levi. Finally getting his comic book break. Who's the guy who actually plays Shazam.
Oh, okay.
Because he was supposed to be Peter Quill in Guardians of the Galaxy. He was like in the last 2 for that little run up there. So it was nice to see him get like his comic book film. And he did it well. He was good. He was funny. He was charming. Just, I liked it. So on the Plectrum scale,
2.5.
Okay. Yeah, just because you kind of got lost interest at night near the end.
Yeah.
Fair
I'm not
enough.
in a rush to watch it again.
Fair enough, Carol. Yeah, I enjoyed it a little bit more than that. I thought it was a well-made comic book film, especially for the DC Universe ilk as well. So I'm going to go with a good, solid 3. Inspiration Corner. Inspiration Corner. Inspiration Corner. With Carol and a little bit of John. So, what has inspired you, Carol?
And a little bit of joy. I just love it so much. So my inspiration, I was out and about in the shop, so I would just had coffee with Nicola, and she had to go and catch her bus.
Right.
And I was kind of hanging around because I didn't want to go home or I had to come and get you from work.
Right.
So I was just mooching in the shops. So I went into Poundland.
Yeah.
And they have a selection of wool. It's pants. I've always walked straight by it. But there was one kind of mustardy colour.
Yeah.
That just kind of caught my eye, and I was
I love a good mustard.
Oh, I love a mustard.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh. And it was 3 for the price of 2.
Yeah.
And they're £2 each. So 3 balls for £2. I mean, they're half balls. So a normal ball is 100 grams, and these are 50 grams. So it's the same price as what you pay.
Yeah, it kind of works out.
Shop.
Yeah, sure.
Because in a shop, you'd pay £2 for 100 grams.
Right.
So it's a little better deal. Anyway, I was like, I don't want any other colours, and there's only one ball of this mustard colour. And then I was kind of rummaging around, and there was like a sparkly one I kind of liked, and I was like, no. And as I was rummaging, I found another one of mustard. I was like, oh, I've got 2 mustard ones. And I was like, just thinking, oh. And then I finally rummaged and climbed up, and the top shelf right at the back was one more ball. So I got this like toy. It was like a stick thing, and used that to pull down this other mustard colour. So I had 3 balls of mustard colour for £2. Banging. Skipped all the way home. And then I was looking through Pinterest, like just like at crochet, like just having a wee look. And there was like a headband.
Yeah.
But like, it's not a headband like a hairband. A headband is in like, keeps your ears warm.
It's like a headscarf.
Headscarf, but not in a religious way. So it's like a hat, but with no top.
Yeah, it's like those scarves that you get that are connected. Like, so it's like a completed circle, so you don't tie it or anything or wrap it at all. It's like just it's like a snood. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking of. Yeah. But I was like, I don't want to say that word just in case I'm wrong. But in my head, I was like, it's a snood, right?
It's just a funny noise.
Yeah, like I'm pretty sure that's what a snood is. But yeah, so it's like that, but it's for your head.
Yeah, so I started it briefly last night. I kind of done the first few rows, and I was like, oh, I've got a headache, can't concentrate.
Yeah.
So this morning when we got up, I just finished it, just like that. So I'd say it probably took me about 2 hours.
Yeah, I was watching Match of the Day, so that's about an hour and a half.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then I came through here for a little bit while you finished off. So yeah, it must have been just under or just over 2 hours.
2 hours. And it's really easy. So for anyone who knows crochet talk, it's a single stitch, double stitch, single stitch, double stitch, single stitch, double stitch, all along. So it's got a kind of bumpy effect.
Yeah, it's really nice. It creates like these little squares.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really liked it.
And then I just kind of gathered the middle and put a band around it, so it looks like a bow almost.
Yeah.
And it matches my scarf, and I love it. So that's my inspiration.
Yeah,
I was inspired by cheap wool from the pound shop that was hidden away. Oh, down. The spare room cupboard studio podcast time machine look back thing at history.
I love the way you say that. So yeah, so first of all, as we did last time, we are going to cover personal history. So Carol, what were we up to this week, however many years ago?
So a year ago, we were in the magical world of Florida.
Well, yeah.
We were at Disney World and Universal Studios this week, a year ago.
Yeah, so we were lucky enough to go with all our family, and we had like those multi-day park tickets passes, for wherever we wanted. So we split that between Universal and all the Disney, and we did Busch Gardens and SeaWorld as well, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
In that time. We
did. So exactly a year ago today, I posted a picture of us at Magic Kingdom on the Buzz Lightyear pew pew pew, and we've both got serious concentration faces on.
Yeah, shooting things, beating all the children. Yeah, we loved it. I've just got to say, I won.
Yeah, you did.
I did.
Yeah, because at the start I was just like pew pew pew, and I must have hit like a really good thing.
Yeah, and you were so far ahead. Like you had like double a point,
and you were just raging. So then you became really serious and competitive, where we were like pew pew pew, and I was just like still like pew pew pew.
No, you weren't.
Looking around.
You saw me getting competitive, so you got instantly competitive as well. Don't be like, oh yeah, I didn't win because I didn't really care that much. Yes, you did.
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
So what was your favourite ride? Of all of the rides, every single ride we went on, what was your favourite ride?
It's between Splash Mountain,
yeah,
and Jurassic Park.
Oh, two of the classics, not really the new ones.
No. I think I enjoyed loads of them.
Yeah, they're all amazing.
But the two that really stick out in my memory are Splash Mountain and Jurassic Park. It's weird that they're both water ones as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You love a good splash.
I do. Splash Mountain mainly because of the picture.
Yeah.
And the way the story happened, which I know we have talked about on the podcast of like it wasn't open and then it was open and we were buzzing and we just threw our bags at your poor parents and then ran away. And then Jurassic Park just because of the drop.
Yeah. I was like, I'm not going to tell him. I'm not going to tell him.
And it was so good because you go through the hole and you think, oh, it's just going to lever out here because you drop quite far before you go through the wall.
Yeah, and you're looking
to the
up
outside,
at, like the big dinosaur.
And you're looking up.
That.
You're not really focused on how far the drop's going to be, and you think, oh, it's going to like level out as soon as we go through this wall. No, it gets steeper and drops about another 20 feet and speeds up loads. And I was like, whoa, that's brilliant.
I'm sure it's the only photo we've got of John where he actually looks scared.
Because it just shocked me of like, it's going to level. Oh, no, it's not. It was like, a little bit of, like, because it sped up so much, like, as soon as you go through the wall, it drops further and quicker, and it was just so good. I loved it. Carol, same question.
Oh, I don't know. I really liked The Mummy. Mummy Returns or something.
Yeah, loved that.
I really liked
so much
that
so.
one.
Did we go on that 2 times, 3 times?
At least 3. Because we went on it twice ourselves and once
with your
my
parents.
family.
Yeah. So I think we went on that 3 times because we went twice the first time that we went, and then we went once on the rainy day.
I thought we went twice on the rainy day.
Did we?
We might have on again. Yeah.
We. Do you know what? I think actually, you're right. I think we did go on it 4 times
because you got to put all your stuff in the locker.
And because it was raining and cold, and there was fire on that ride that warmed you up, so we were like, "We'll just go in again to dry off."
Heat up a bit. I really liked. I think it's called Soar. Or Air or something like that.
Where was that?
So it's in one of the Disney parks, and you go in, you get strapped in, and then like all the seats go up the way. It's like a 4D experience, so you don't move really, but you're like your feet are dangling, and the seat kind of moves, and you travel around the world, and you're like flying across like the Indian desert.
Oh yeah, the one with the big screen. Yeah, that was cool.
And it like blasts like scents at you.
I think it was called Soar, yeah, because Air's Alton Towers, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I remember that one now. That was really, really cool.
And I just loved it because Samuel had been on it before me, and he was like, "Auntie Karen, you've got to come on this ride. It's so amazing. You've got to come and sit next to me." And it was just like his excitement. And he's like, "Can you smell it? Can you smell it? Can you smell it?" Like he made it for me. Yeah.
I think I went both times with him on that one. That was one of those times that I did the double. Yeah. And
I really liked the new Harry Potter one.
I didn't get to go on the new Harry Potter one.
But it was amazing. It was like quite scary at some points because I didn't expect to go upside down. And you go upside down. So I was like, we're still going. I'm upside down. And then it was like back again. So you're like, what? Yeah, it was amazing to like, go around the school and like lots of like flashbacks of different films and stuff. So that was, and just the like graphics of it. Yeah, like it's just it is.
When you came out, I was like, "Did you enjoy it?" And you were like, "Yeah, it was all right." I was like, "You can be honest." And you were like, "It was amazing."
Yeah,
because I couldn't go on because I was too big. My shoulders, my chest, and my belly, and everything just would not fit in that ride.
Yeah, and as I said, you go upside down, so you've it's not.
You've got to fit in. It's sort of. It's restricted to as long as you can get the bars over.
Yeah.
And I genuinely thought like I'm not gonna fit in this because I'm overweight and I'm like my belly will get in the way, but I couldn't even get that down past my shoulders.
Your shoulders, yeah.
Like because I'm like.
It's like 4 little seats in a row, isn't it? Like.
I'm only 6 foot or just under 6 foot, but I'm all torso.
Yeah, with little legs.
With tiny little legs. So when I sit down, I may as well be 6'4" or something because I'm all body. Yeah. So when I got into that, I couldn't even get that past my shoulders at all. It just stopped like right in front of my face. I was like, yeah, I'm not going on that one.
No. So yeah, that was 1 year ago. 2 years ago, I joined Slim and Muddled.
Right.
So I was 3.5 stone heavier back then than what I am now.
Well, congratulations on doing so amazingly.
Yeah, but just thinking of 2 years ago, how much I hated my body and hated myself.
Yeah. Yeah, I get you.
To that point. Like, I remember, I don't know if I told the story here, but I remember it was New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
And you were performing, and I got to go with you, and I bought a new dress, and I curled my hair and put makeup on, and I stood in the corner, and I was like, John, take a picture of me, and I was like, ew. Like, I hate the way I look.
You knew, yeah. I remember because you were like, take a picture of me. Oh, no, I don't like that one. Take another one. I don't like that one. Take another one.
Yeah. There was no angle or filter that was going to...
And straight away, like, after we'd done about 3 or 4, you were like, no, never mind. Right, let's just leave.
Yeah.
And I could see it in your face of, like... So, something...
Clicked. Yeah.
Something happened, yeah. Something, like, and... You dealt with the night really well, but I could see that had affected you. I could see that had hit something.
Yeah, like, see, whenever I'm thinking about dieting and stuff, or, oh, I've had enough, or I don't want to do, or I want to eat what I want, like, I'll look back at that photo.
Yeah, I get you.
And whenever we talk about it in group, like, what brought us here and why, what was that? Everyone's got a turning point.
Yeah.
When they walk through some world doors, you need to have a turning point. You've got to want to do it. And that's why I always talk about just that feeling of hating your body. Like, I've always been a bigger girl, and I've never really beat myself up about it. But that moment, poof.
Yeah, there's a difference between being bigger than the average person and being big for yourself.
Yeah, that was the biggest I'd ever been.
That's where I'm at now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've come to the realization that, like, yeah, I've always been a bigger guy, especially, you know, like how broad I am and, you know, how big my shoulders and my chest are. Like, and I've always had that thing of, like, yeah, I've been big and I've carried weight, but I carry weight well because I'm a big person. Mm-hmm. But I've got to the point now where, like, there's no escaping the fact that I am a big fat person. And, yeah, I think that was your moment. And
that was that moment,
yeah,
so I joined Swimming World on the 18th of January.
Yeah, but
2 years ago.
Done amazingly ever since.
Sure have. 5 years ago, we were working in Tenerife, and I found Disney tinfoil.
You were working in Tenerife.
Yeah, you came out to visit me.
I was
going to
say that was my little holiday before I went off to Egypt.
So you were in Egypt 5 years ago. I think you'd went out by now.
No, I spent New Year's with you, remember?
Yeah, but we're 2 weeks after New Year's.
Oh, yeah, so, yeah, I was in Egypt.
So nearly 3 weeks after New Year's.
Yeah, I flew to Egypt on the 8th, I remember.
Okay. So, yeah, you were definitely in Egypt 5 years ago then. Oh, I missed one. 4 years ago, I was making confetti for our wedding.
Right, okay. I remember doing that, yep.
Yep, 3 different shapes of hole punch.
Yep, sat at your parents' dining table.
My dad raging because it went clunk, clunk, clunk.
Yeah, and he was trying to watch things on telly. He was like, "Could you just do that somewhere else?"
It's like, there's no space anywhere else in this house. So I made confetti from old sheet music, from old maps, and some coloured paper that matched our wedding colour scheme.
Wow.
And I had music note shapes, love heart shapes, and what was the other shape? Circles, just little circles.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's just an old punch, wasn't it? Yeah.
And 7 years ago, my first nephew was born.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I remember...
The little man.
It was like 11:30 at night.
Right.
So I didn't know he'd been born until the morning.
Right.
They'd message to say, you know, like... Or did I know? I think I knew, actually. I think we found out straight away. We're born, it's a boy. They're both okay, but Mum is... She made it through, but my sister-in-law bled a lot. She's ginger, so... and she was 2 weeks overdue, and she had to get induced, and it was really, really tough labour for her. But she was doing all right, you know, she'd made it through. They weren't, like, concerned, but, you know, she wasn't...
It was a fact of it's been quite a difficult one, yeah.
Yeah, so I went to meet him twice the day after. So there was, like, a morning visiting time.
Yeah.
And I wasn't working, or I was working at an after-school club or something, but I wasn't working that day. And I drove down and I got like so lost and I was like really late and there was like 10 minutes left and I like ran in. I was like, where is he? And I got to hold him. Oh, and he was so sweet. And then in the evening, there's another visiting time and I went back again, like with my parents, and got to be there for like the full hour.
Right.
Or however long it is, and hold him and cuddle him and meet him. So do you remember meeting Samuel for the first time?
No.
Because you would have met them both, wouldn't you? Was Matthew born?
No.
Oh no, because he's only
Matthew's 3. We're coming up to 3 years of marriage.
Yeah, that's right. So when did you meet Samuel? I can't even remember. It must have
Would have been the first time that I came up here.
Yeah, I remember you meeting Matthew for the first time. We went round.
Yeah.
I had met him first.
Yeah, because I was away.
First.
Was I working at Q or something? No.
It was October.
Yeah, so it was just before we got married. Yeah, so you met him first because we said like the last week that we just got back from Tenerife. Yeah. I'd gone to Wales and...
No, I'd met him before. I met him before?
No, you hadn't? No.
What a bad auntie. He was like...
We were away, we were working.
3 months old, yeah. Oh. Yeah, so I met him first and then you came up and then I went back round and we went together.
Yeah.
And you were too scared to hold him.
Yeah, because I'm big and I'm
not
clumsy
used to little babies
and... Yeah, it's that point of when they're so young that, you know, they can't support their head and...
You don't know how to hold them.
Oh, yeah, just... I don't know, I'm a clumsy person at the best of times.
So, yeah, I kind of cuddled them in between the two of us, didn't I? So you were like... I was
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we had a nice wee photo. And I remember I'm like crying in the photo. I'm like, my baby nephew. When I first met, Mum took a photo and it's just me holding them and I'm like, so cute. I just love babies. They're so cute.
Probably why you like me so much, because I am a giant baby.
A giant baby, yes.
Yeah, essentially.
And 9 years ago, this is a little random one, I had an interview to do the census.
Right, okay.
9 years ago today. And I got the job and I delivered the census and collected them and all that jazz. And it was a good experience for me, I feel. A nice little experience. Very organised, which I liked. And I had boxes and boxes of these census all over my parents' house. Mm-hmm. And I had a high-vis jacket and my little ID thing. And oh my goodness, I had to go knocking on these doors and ask people to fill them out. And there was these 2 ladies. They were both spinsters, so never married and never had children. And they lived together.
Right.
And one of them was housebound. She was like, I can't leave the house, I can't walk very well. And the other one would leave once a week. She would get in a taxi, walk round Morrison's or wherever, and get the taxi back. And that was the only time she got out of the house. And there were 2 nurses.
Right.
And so they asked for extra support to fill out the form. So you could ask for another staff member to come with you if you're like, if it's a dodgy house or whatever. But I was like, no, it's 2 little old dears. I'll be absolutely fine going myself. So I went myself and I had to help them fill out. And I was like asking them like what about their education. And they're like, we don't know what it's called. It was like 70 years ago. They're not called like hires or whatever. So there was like a special box you could click. They could tick if it was like a certain amount. And they were so funny. They were telling me about all these stories about how they used to be nurses. And blood used to come in glass bottles. And you would hang it upside down and they had like a winder thing. And they had to wind it to get the blood to like pump through into the bodies.
Yeah.
Or patients, whatever. And they were at the time where it was changing to plastic and they hadn't had proper training. So they hung up this plastic bag of blood and started winding it and it exploded. The pressure made it explode. And they said there was blood everywhere, like all down the walls. It was all over them. They were just like, oh, I don't think this is the way you're supposed to do it. They
That's
were
horrific.
Laughing.
That's terrifying.
Yeah. Oh, but it was so nice to see them like being animated and like, you know, talking about their experiences and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
And they really loved it. They were like, oh dear, you can come round anytime you want. If you're ever passing by, you can pop in. I thought it was really sweet.
Yeah.
But I never did go back and see them again.
So is that us?
That's all that I've got.
That's
of
everything that
noteworthy.
we have done.
Well, me, yeah. I didn't check yours.
Well,
But you're together. In
I was in some of those memories.
You sure were, my love?
Yeah, I was. Right, okay, so in the world history of this week throughout the years, I felt like I rambled a bit last week. So what I've
Short
done,
and snappy.
split them into categories.
Oh.
So first of all, we're going to cover business, because that's a real quick one. There's only one, and that was in 1857. The Coca-Cola Company, then known as the Pemberton Medicine Company, was incorporated.
Wow.
So I just found that interesting because the Coca-Cola Company used to be Pemberton Medicine Company.
Yeah.
Did you know that Coca-Cola was originally invented as medicine?
No, I didn't.
As is most of soft drinks.
Really?
Most soft drinks and a lot of alcohols as well. It's all
like cough syrup.
apothecaries and it was all invented for like cough syrup.
Did it really have like
flu remedies?
Coke in it? Was that a rumour as a child?
I think it's some sort of derivation of the cocaine plant, that used to be in Coca-Cola. Yeah. So I think it's not like cocaine as...
Is it like hemp? You know, it's like part of it, but not...
Yeah, of what hemp is to weed. Like, it comes from the same plant. Exactly.
Yeah.
So it comes from the coca plant, where you do get cocaine from, and cocoa.
Oh, is that the same plant?
Coca, yeah.
Didn't know that.
Cocaine comes from some sort of byproduct of the coca plant that you get cocaine from, I think.
Wow.
But as far as I know, and I know for a fact, I'm going to get fact checked on this shit. But yeah, so as far as I know, it is some sort of byproduct or something from the plant that they used to put in Coca-Cola.
Wow. There's a Coca-Cola factory here. That's how a lot of East Kilbride families moved here, was the Motorola and the Coca-Cola factory. Those were the two factories. It used to be a factory town.
Right, I see. Yeah, that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So it all started from up that end, yeah? Mm-hmm. Right. So when did the Coca-Cola plant move here then?
Oh, I don't know.
Might be worth finding it out. Mm. Yeah. And then tech is really quick. There's only one on there that I found massively interesting. So this week, back in 1942, the first ejector seat was used in a plane. So obviously during World War II, but right towards the end of World War II. So if you think the war ended in 1945, so it wasn't until then,
right in the middle, because it's 39 to 45, so 42 is right in the middle.
Yeah. So they could have done, they could have invented that a little bit sooner.
Yeah, 3 years
Just
earlier.
think all those aerial battles and stuff like that.
Wow.
Like, you shot on fire, your engines are on fire, you can't even eject.
Yeah, you just gotta jump out.
But then in 1942, some clever little clogs invented the ejector seat, and that was used for the first time in battle in 1942.
Oof.
And then entertainment-wise, there's a few there. They're generally from the same era, though, so it's all sort of 60s, 70s. So I'm going to go chronologically. So in 1964, Hello Dolly opened on Broadway. Not one of my personal favourite musicals, but very successful, and it's one of those musicals that everybody knows. And that ran for 2,844 performances.
Wow.
That is a lot of big old performances there for Hello Dolly. Yeah. So that opened in 1964 on Broadway and ran for that long. Wow. In 1968, Johnny Cash played live at Folsom Prison. And the Folsom Prison album is probably one of the most famous albums in music history.
Yeah.
There's been films made about it. It made him a legend in music. Everybody knows Johnny Cash. Mainly because of the fact that he had this huge comeback at Folsom Prison. So that happened. Well, that's it. I mean, I think if I remember rightly, Ring of Fire had already been released at that point. But he had this huge comeback career.
Yeah.
Where he very famously had a lot of drug and alcohol problems and sort of kind of fell apart a bit, but just brought it all back with probably one of the most famous concerts ever. Johnny Cash was a huge name.
Yeah.
And recorded a live album at Folsom Prison, and that was in 1968. This week in 1968. And then in 1973, Elvis Presley performed another very, very famous concert over in Hawaii, and it was Aloha from Hawaii. And that was in 1973. And I found this out as well when I was looking through my history as well, because the Hawaiian Islands were discovered by a European for this first time, years and years. I didn't check the year because I sort of had it as my fact, but they initially called it the Sandwich Islands.
Why?
I don't know. But,
did they do good sandwiches?
But Europeans, they initially christened Hawaii the Sandwich Islands.
Oh, love a sandwich.
Me too. But yeah, so that's just an extra little fact there that I had. A little factoid. And then politics. So it's not always going to be this politics heavy, but this week in the history of politics, in 1893, Labour Party had its first meeting. 1920, very famously, the Prohibition began. So the Prohibition was the birth of so many wonderful things in a strange way. So the Americans decided that people couldn't drink alcohol anymore. So that kind of was the birth of organised crime.
Wow.
Was bootleggers and gangsters going, well, we're going to make a lot of money off this smuggling alcohol into all these cities. And it was the birth of the cocktail era as well. Of people couldn't get decent alcohol. They had to brew crap alcohol that wasn't regulated properly.
Oh,
So they'd get terrible whiskey and terrible rum and they'd mix things with it, like flavours and all this sort of stuff to make it taste okay. So that was the birth of the cocktail as well. So the Prohibition, the birth of lots of good things, started in 1920. So it was a bad thing that created lots of good things. Very famously in politics, in 27 BC, so this is the earliest one that we've had so far. In the year 27 before Christ, Julius Caesar, was granted the title of Augustus. So he was Augustus Julius Caesar, which was the kind of the birth of the Roman Empire. So before that, it was more of it wasn't imperial. It was more of a council. So they had the Senate and things like that. But yeah, Julius Caesar was the first person to be granted the title Augustus, and he was the first emperor of Rome. And we all know how that went for him. Not particularly well. And then just because we're living in Scotland, just a little bit of a home fact here. In 1707, Scotland agreed to sign the State of the Union, which was the start of the birth of Great Britain. It was the linking of all the countries, and that was in 1707. So that started what is now the United Kingdom, Great Britain and the United Kingdoms. And then just slightly morbid extra news. In 1947, the first Black Dahlia murder victim was found. I think, isn't there only one though? No, sorry. So yeah, the Black Dahlia murder victim was found. Elizabeth Short. Well, bits of her were found. It was probably one of the most gruesome murders of all time. But that was in 1947. And I think that is everything I've got.
Wow, that is a lot.
For our history type thing. Carol, just need to ask. What's a moozing?
I don't know if we've really got a word to sum this up, but your first contract abroad.
yeah. First time travelling.
Yeah.
But for work.
For work.
So it's as succinctly titled as our history thing.
So, what year, who with, and where was your first contract abroad?
So the first thing that I did abroad was with my university, and I think that was either 2009 or 2010,
Okay.
and I went to Romania.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm not going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about the first time that I travelled alone. The first time that I went on my own, I was with a band, but because the band had worked for the company before and I hadn't, I had to fly out on my own. And that was when I worked for Disney. Because I had to go through Disney University.
Earn your ears.
I did. Had to earn my ears before they flew out and sort of we went onto the ship. So I had to do like 3-4 days training.
So, how much luggage were you allowed to bring with you?
On that first contract, because it was a ship, it wasn't so much. So I had a suitcase and a guitar.
Yeah. And what kind of things do you remember packing that you think, oh, I need that?
So I kind of knew what to expect because I'd done ships before.
Right.
But because I was on my own, I didn't have any organisation myself, so that was the nerve-wracking part. So I remember, like, it was difficult because, like, when I was packing for a contract abroad, I always had to balance it between making sure I have enough work clothes, but then making sure that I have enough clothes to live in day by day. So I remember packing, like, loads of shorts and T-shirts, a couple of shirts that I'd wear in the crew bar, and then I had like 3 suits, 6 or 7 shirts, and just like a couple of pairs of posh shoes, and that was it.
Wow.
And I didn't even take equipment. I just had my guitar.
Wow.
No, I had 2 guitars at that point because I was playing acoustic and electric.
Wow.
So a case and 2 guitars was what I went out with on my first trip alone.
Did your dad take you to the airport?
Yes. Yes, he did.
Yeah.
I think my dad took me to the airport pretty much every single time I went, apart from twice, I think. All the rest of the times he came to get me.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was amazing like that.
So when you landed, what happened? Was someone there to meet you? Did you have to find your way, or what happened?
So I had to get a connecting flight as well for some reason. So it was only to Barcelona. So I'm not sure why. I think it was just the way it was like because cruise ships would do this. Like it didn't matter how many connections or what happened, they would get the cheapest flight available. Especially if they'd already agreed in the contract to pay for flights.
And it's your first time as well.
And yeah.
They get away with a lot when it's your first time.
Well, I like sort of saying it wasn't my first time on a ship, but it was my first time alone.
Yeah, first time with those people.
It was my first time with Disney, yeah. And yeah, so I had to go from Manchester to Gatwick to Barcelona.
Oh, okay, so that's not really that bad.
It wasn't too bad. So it was a little short hop flight and then a little extra hop flight. So I think all in all, it only took 2 hours, and that was even with a connection. But obviously with a connecting flight, you're always a bit worried. So I'd done a few of them before, and I'd had bags go missing. So I was terrified.
Yeah.
No, and it wasn't Gatwick, it was Heathrow, because I remember having to get the buses from terminal to terminal, which take forever in Heathrow. I don't know if anybody's ever been on those terminal buses in Heathrow, but they take ages, and I was so worried about getting my next flight. It took forever, and I was stressing the fuck out because I was on my own. And like I said, it was the first time that I was responsible for all my own travel.
Yeah.
So I remember being really stressed, like desperate to get my connecting flight, and I got there just in time and got the plane, got to Barcelona, picked up my suitcase, waited for my guitars. They weren't there. And I was so stressed. And I remember like nearly having a panic attack, and like I was like, I'm out to play music and I haven't even got anything to play music on. This is the worst thing that's ever happened
And
to me.
back then, or even now, like guitars are so expensive. That
Yeah,
money,
yeah.
the thought of having to like replace them,
Well, this
whether you've got
was,
insurance or not, it's too expensive.
and this was back
Items.
before I became a jaded musician who travelled a lot and had only spent £300 on a guitar. The guitars that I had missing, they were worth about £600 each.
Yeah, they're your guitars.
Yeah, like I wasn't used to traveling all that time.
No.
They were like my pride and joy, you know,
Yeah.
especially the electric that I had. It was absolute thing of beauty. And so I was so stressed out. And then I remember sort of standing there freaking out, not knowing where to go, and I was just about to go to lost property. And I looked over and I saw another guy grab what looked like a guitar case from like a specialist baggage area that wasn't labelled. And I was like, oh, so they've got special baggage here then, which they haven't told anybody about. Brilliant. So I went over there and found both my guitars.
Excellent.
And then we were told to go and wait for a specialist sort of like Disney staff bus. So there was like 16 of us doing training, I think it was.
Right.
All together, all due to go onto the ship for the first time. So we had to go and like get our proper maritime card and things like that. So we had to sort of do all the swimming training and stuff. So there was loads of us doing it.
Yeah.
So we're all staying in the same hotel, and so they put a bus on just for us. So they were like, oh yeah, you have to go. So it said in the information that we were given, oh, you have to go and wait at this bus stand.
Yeah.
For the staff bus that you're gonna get. And I got over to the bus stand, and the guy who'd picked up the guitar was at the bus stand there.
Oh.
So straight away I made a sort of joke of like, oh, I'm really glad I saw you pick up your guitar because I had no fucking clue where mine were. And he was this Aussie guy. I'm trying to remember his name now. Morgan. His name was Morgan.
Morgan Freeman.
No, Morgan Hazelton, if I remember rightly. They were in a couple, and they were a classical duo. He was a classical guitarist, and she was a violinist.
Oh.
And I think they were Morgan and Phoebe. And they were just these lovely Australian people, and they were just amazing.
Oh.
And I just struck up an instant chat with them because they were just so open and chatty.
Yeah.
And he just found everybody and everything hilarious. He was just constantly laughing and going, oh, that's great, that's just brilliant. At everything everybody said. He was just found joy in life, you know, and they were just lovely people. So I struck up a conversation with them straight away, and then we all got on the bus, and like, because me and Morgan like both had our guitars, so put them at the back of the bus and stuff like that. So it was really good. And then we ended up going to a hotel, and I just remember being in this hotel room and being like, I've just done that on my own for the first time, and I am in a hotel room on my own for the first time, because the rest of the time it was with like a group or a band or something like that. And I was like, this is quite nice. And I quite enjoyed it.
Were you ever like scared or anything?
I think not scared that anything bad was going to happen, or scared that I was on my own abroad. I think it was more apprehension of like, because I think I got eased into it. Like I said, I did this tour in Romania, and then I'd done a few ships with bands, and then all of a sudden it was my responsibility. I was still part of a band, but I had to get myself there. So I had my band manager who was like, you've got everything sorted, yeah? You've got your tickets, yeah? You've got all this sorted. And I was like, yeah, like, thank you very much. And she helped me prepare everything. Yeah. But it was then my responsibility to get myself to the airport, get myself on those flights, get myself on the connection, and, you know, get myself into the hotel. So I think I wasn't necessarily like scared because I was eased in, but like all of a sudden it was the apprehension of having the responsibility of making sure it was me that sorted all that stuff out. And I just remember, being at a hotel in Barcelona and just being like, wow, like I'm on my own. And I didn't know anybody, and I was so used to at least knowing the other bandmates and slowly but surely getting to know people because the other people in the band were way more chatty than I was. So I was like, yeah, I'll just make friends through friends. That's fine.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, it was like I was on my own, and I remember going out to this smoking area and getting chatted to a French guy called Antoine. And we were just chatting away, and I was like, oh, what are you doing here? And he was like, oh, I'm here for Disney Train. I was like, amazing, me too. And he was like, cool, that's brilliant. And we just got on straight away.
Yeah.
And that was really, really good as well. So yeah, made friends with the Aussies, made friends with some French people, and it was just really, really good. And yeah, like I said, we had like 4 days training where it was lots of like Disney history training, and then we were doing like cruise ship security and health and safety training. How about yourself, Carol? So where was it you were flying to, and where were you flying from?
So I went to give it a backstory first. So I had just graduated from college.
Right.
So I was like 20, 21.
Yeah.
And I was on the Tinterweb.
On Tinterweb?
Tinterweb. And I wanted to be a nanny in Edinburgh. So that was my goal. I was like just Googling, searching, and I stumbled across Gumtree. And there was like looking for nannies. So I was like, apply. And then there's this one called Val d'Isere. And I was like, don't even know where that is. Apply, and just kept going. And then I got an email back straight away saying, we really like your CV. Would you like to do a Skype interview? And I was like, yeah, sure. So I clicked on this thing, and it was a Skype interview, and it was a couple in France with a 2-year-old looking for a nanny for the winter.
Right.
And I was like, oh yeah, I'd done French in high school, like blabbed it all the way through, and they were like, great, we'll get back to you. There's another person who we want to interview. And then we're like, no. So I told my parents the next morning, because it was at like 10 o'clock at night. It wasn't even like daytime. 10 o'clock at night. And so the next day I told my parents, I was like, I applied for a job in France. Mum was like, no, you have not. No, you are not. No, you haven't. You have no, absolutely not. No way, Jose. And then I had another Skype interview with them. They were like, oh yeah, really interested. Have you ever done like toilet training, potty training? I was like, yeah. No, I hadn't. I was like, yeah, of course. Yeah, I can do that.
Same as usual. It's just...
Yeah.
It's 20 to 9.
I know, it's just really hard to talk when you're not listening to me.
I am listening though.
Okay.
But same as usual.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's fine.
So yeah, you were saying like you'd sort of completely blagged it and gone, oh yeah, of course I've done all that stuff. Yeah, I can do that. That's no problem. Thinking, I'll just learn as I go.
Yeah, so they were like, okay, if you book your flight, we'll reimburse you when you get out here.
Right.
We want to pay you €80 a week to look after our child for 40 hours.
That's shocking. That's like slavery, isn't it?
I was like, yeah, that's absolutely fine.
No, you were not.
Yeah, they were like, we'll give you accommodation, we will pay for all your food, all your utility. So it's just like pocket money, basically, because you'll be a live-in au pair. And I was like, yeah, of course, that sounds great. And my dad's like, these are probably murderers. Like, you're just flying out there. You're paying for the flight. No, absolutely not. So between applying for it and flying out to France was 15 days.
It's amazing, isn't it, how quickly these things can turn around.
So I had 20 kilos that I was allowed to bring with me, and my ski jacket was like 6 kilos. So I had my ski jacket and my salopettes, because obviously it was, I don't know if I said it, it's in the Alps. I googled like, where's Val d'Isere, and it's like this really posh ski resort.
Yeah.
So I just packed as many winter clothes as I could. So I had like 4 outfits, a couple of homely bits, and then I took some like paper and pens because I knew I was going to write letters back home.
Yeah.
And that was pretty much it. So I got on this flight to Geneva, which isn't even in France. And the guy was like, yeah, I'll pick you up from Geneva. It's only a 3-hour drive.
I was going to say, isn't Val d'Isere near the border, though?
It's 3 hours from Geneva airport. And he was like, yeah, I'll come pick you up. I'll meet you at the terminal. So I just had to... I got on this flight and I was absolutely pooping my pants. Flying from Edinburgh to Geneva by myself at 21 years old to a couple who I met on Gumtree.
That's nuts when you think about it.
Yeah.
When you think about it now, you'd never do that now, would you?
No.
You're off your fucking head, love.
Yeah. So I was just looking about and this guy came running towards me with pushing a buggy with a 2-year-old in it.
Right.
And I kind of recognised them. And he was like, Caro. So he was English.
Right.
And the mother was, I was getting mixed up. She was either Peruvian or Philippine. And that's probably really racist of me. I don't know who she was, but she was one of them.
They're two pretty different areas of the world, though.
She spoke Spanish, if that helps.
So that's probably because Philippines are like Asia. And Peru is South America.
Right.
So Peru would be more likely to speak Spanish.
Okay, well, all I know is that she spoke Spanish.
So if it's going to be one of those two, I'm going to plump for Peruvian. Let's say that she was Peruvian.
Okay. So, and then I had to sit in this car in the back seat, sat next to this 2-year-old with an English man driving, a Peruvian lady in the passenger seat, belting out no, it was Italian. It was Italian CD they had.
Right.
For 3 hours. And I was like, what have I done?
What have I done?
What have I done? So we arrived back in Val d'Isere and they were like, oh, this is going to be your apartment. So in ski resorts, retail is very, very expensive.
Yeah.
So their apartment they'd done up beautifully. So you walk in the front door and there's like a mini room that's like smaller than a box room. It is literally the size of a double bed. So they had the double bed, but it was like upstairs. Like there was like a ladder. So the double bed was like at my head level.
Yeah.
And underneath it was the boys' cot.
Right.
So they all shared this bedroom. So it was a double bed that they would sleep on. And underneath it, so you couldn't even stand up. To, like when you were putting him in his cot and stuff, you had to like crouch down. There was no windows in that room. It was just like this little box. And then behind that was the kitchen. No, wait. Behind that was the bathroom. So they had like the washing machine inside the bathroom with the changing mat on top of it.
Right.
They didn't even have a bath. It was a shower. Like that's all there was space for. And a toilet. And then behind that was all open plan. So they had like a kitchen, all their wardrobes, a TV and a sofa. And then like a bench that was like the dining table.
Wow.
So, and then a balcony, a nice wee balcony. And they had a dog as well. So the 3 of them and this dog were living there. So they took me to my apartment, which was obviously not done up. It had a bunk bed, a single bed.
Yeah.
2 hobs, a sink, and a little table. And then in a separate room was like the bathroom. And they were like, oh yeah, 2 roommates will be moving in as soon as the season starts. Because obviously I went out before the season started. And then they just handed me this cash for my flight. They were like, oh, this is for your expenses. And we'll see you tomorrow where you're going to start work. And that was it. They just left me in this apartment. And there was like no Wi-Fi. Obviously my phone like wasn't working. I just moved there. Everywhere was shut. I had no food. They'd left me a bottle of water.
Carol, that sounds terrifying.
So
you must have been so shell-shocked.
Yeah, I just lay in this bunk bed because it was the only one made up. Like, what have I done?
I remember that feeling on like having that same sort of shell-shocked feeling of like all of a sudden you're just there and you're like, okay, because you get the travel over and done with, and there's like a buzz that comes with travel because you're so busy. That's it. You're so busy looking at the schedule that you've got and what you need to be doing, especially first time, and then all of a sudden it's like somebody just drops a bomb, and it's like, oh my god, Oh my God. Like, I can't imagine how you were feeling at that point.
I was freezing and I had a headache because it's so high up.
Yeah, of course,
Like,
altitude
you're
as
at the
well,
top of
yeah.
a mountain. The air is so dry. Like, my skin was dry, my lips were dry, my mouth was dry. I was cold, and I was just lying, like, in this bunk bed. Like,
With nothing. With no way of contacting anybody, just
what
there,
have I
yeah.
done? Yeah. And then the next day, I went down to their apartment, and they were like, "Oh, did we not leave you the Wi-Fi code for your apartment?" I'm like, "No,
No,
you
would have been
didn't."
really handy.
So I sent some messages to my parents, and they were like, "Oh, Skype us right now. Like, we have to see that you're safe. Skype us right now." So I'm sat there in their apartment, like, this laptop is balanced on top of their dresser in the kitchen, like, "Yeah, Mum, I'm safe." They're like, they like told me this like secret code. I think it was like to say, "Oh, I'd left my toy giraffe." It was something to do with a giraffe. Like, I seen a giraffe or a toy giraffe. I had to say giraffe if I was in a danger place. And I was like, "No, Mum, it's great. It's absolutely fine. Like, I'm safe. I'm warm. Like, they came and collected me. Everything's good." And then the wee boy was called Ollie, and he was like shouting, like running about, like chipper chatting. And they're like, "Right, okay, it's fine. Like, call us when you can."
Your parents must have been terrified.
I remember Mum and Dad took me to the airport, and I was like, "Oh, bye, I'll see you." It was only like 4 months or something. It was like the winter, like 5 months, like 4 or 5 months, really short. November, December, January, February. Oh, it was supposed to be 4 months. And I was like, "Bye, I'll see you later." And Mum was like, trying so hard not to cry.
Yeah.
She was like hugging me, and then I walked away and I looked back and she was just in my dad's arms, like crying, and I just walked away and I started crying and I couldn't go back, and I was just like,
you've told me that part of the story before, but I never realised how
dodgy it was.
Dodgy the situation was. I would have handcuffed you to the bed and been like, "No, you are not going to the airport, you psychopath. You've just found a job with people who aren't registered on fucking Gumtree and you're about to fly out to... No, you're not. That's nuts.
Yeah, isn't that mental?
You're insane.
Mm-hmm.
That's
that was
crazy.
my first time
That's your
working
first
abroad.
one. That's mad.
So it wasn't with a company. It wasn't through an agency. It was literally just someone posted on Gumtree, "We need an au pair," and I was like, "Yo."
You're mental.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah. Carol, you've just blown any story that I have out the water.
Sorry.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I was big and brave back then, or stupid.
Yeah, I'm gonna go for the latter.
Rude.
Yeah.
All worked out though, didn't it?
There is a difference between big and brave. And come on now, I mean, they could have been anybody.
Yeah, I paid for my own flight and just went there in the hope that they would pick me up.
Just think about how you are now. Like, I don't know whether we should say this, but think about what you did tonight and what you were saying before you left.
Yeah, so I am part of a childcare.co.uk or whatever it's called. So it's a bit like Gumtree. And I offer babysitting services through it. And a family got in contact and they were like, "Oh yeah, come meet us at our house at night." So I was like, "John, this is their name. This is their
this is the address that I'm going to.
If I don't call you in half an hour, I'm probably dead." And that was me going round the block, like.
And that's now. And look what you did.
Yeah.
You're amazing. Right. Well, that's about all we've got time for, Carol. You mad head.
Yeah. So tell us about your first contract. If you've got any stories, are they as scary as mine, or are they as safe as John's?
Yeah. And I think we will revisit this subject because
it's a big subject. Yeah, there's lots of different stories.
Yeah, that's just like our first flights on our own.
Yeah.
Carol's was much more terrifying than mine. Mine was absolute luxury.
Yeah.
The worst part I had was I can't find my guitars. Oh, they're in special baggage.
Oh, there they are over there.
I'm an idiot. That was my bit. Carol found a job on Gumtree with complete strangers and just flew out to live in their house. Nuts.
Yeah.
So yeah, but that's about all we've got time for. We are going to interview your parents.
Yeah, they cancelled. How rude.
They cancelled on us, so it's coming. We promise it's coming. It's going to be worth the wait. It will be. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah. Good old Stuart and Sheila.
But until next week, we'll see you soon.
Chat to you next week.
Bye.